Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, as you can see, I've got the two ladies, Laurel and Hardy here. Come here. I know that people love to see the cheeky chickens in the mornings. Right, come here, ladies. Come on. Come here. Come on. There you go. They're having something to eat this morning. There you go. There's the cheeky chickens for you. Live this morning from the balcony. Look at them. Mr. Cockerel's coming up now. He's getting a little bit braver now. He's a little bit more. What's the word I'm saying? A little bit more cautious than these two ladies here, aren't we? Go on. Look at you guys, eh? And you sweeties. Right, I'm going to pop that on the floor there for you ladies. You finish that off, and I'm going to show the nice people what the weather is like today. All right. Now. Morning, Emma Marku. Nice to see you tuning in all the way from Essex. Come and have a look at this morning. Hey, are you looking forward to seeing this? Ta-da! Yep, clear blue skies. Absolutely fantastic this morning. Although I've got to be honest, it is cold. Oh, look, there's a bird of prey there. Just flying up over the hills. So chickens will be a little bit cautious, especially there he goes again. Bird of prey flying about as well this morning. So yeah, although it's still cold, to be honest, some of the news this morning, to be honest, is all about the weather, and the contrast is incredible. Cherry Stott up there in the north part of the island, if you're tuning in, I know you were playing in the snow yesterday. Let me know what it's like where you are at the moment, whether there's still snow on the ground or whether it's sort of disappeared overnight. Once again, just be careful of frost. I will actually be covering the weather in a little bit more detail once I start the news. But anyway, that's the view over the back there, Amber Lockerbie and Kerry Way. Let's have a look at what the weather's like here. You can probably hear the wind just blowing as well at the moment. But here we go down the back looking towards Lagana and Kalamaki as the crow flies again. There's a wind blowing now. The wind has just got up now within the last few seconds, believe it or not. It knows I'm coming out and then it starts to come out. But anyway, that is the way it looks. Blue skies, and it's clear looking over towards Silavia at the moment. I'll be eager to see what Amanda Gregory's weather forecast is going to be. I can see her looking in at the moment. But anyway, that's it today. What a contrast from yesterday. And it's quite interesting actually having a little check of the news this morning and last night. It was all doom and gloom with the weather, but this morning, my God, where's it all gone? Anyway, so I'm back on the balcony this morning. It is a little bit chilly, but I shall now switch myself around so you can see me. Thank you there to all those people tuning in. Nice to see you, Tim Troon. Where are you, Tim? Which part of the UK are you in? Just let us know. But anyway, here we go. Stand by for the news for today, 16th of February, 2021. It's a Tuesday, and believe it or not, it's day 102 of the lockdown. Yep. Just a reminder, don't forget, you've got till the end of February if you want to book apartments at Magdalena's. Dennis still has his deal going on, so maybe if you are thinking about coming over this summer, start booking your holiday and your accommodation at Magdalena's bar. All right. A little word from our sponsor. Anyway, COVID in the last 22 hours, or the last 24 hours. Unfortunately, infections are up. From last time I reported it, 622. We have now got 698 across Greece this morning. That's 172,826 people who have been infected since the beginning of the pandemic, and again, as always, 52% of those are male. Now, we've also had 11 new cases identified at entry ports into Greece. That is up from the other day where we'd only had 2. So that is an interesting statistic. Anyway, according to the national stats yesterday, there were no new cases on Kefalonia, there were no new cases on Corfu, and there were supposedly 2 new cases on Zakynthos. However, I've done my due diligence. I've checked all the local papers and all the local news resources. No reports of anybody contracting the virus, reporting to the hospital for treatment or anything else like that. Again, it might be national figures playing catch up, but at the moment there's been no physical new cases here on the island in the last 24 hours. So again, always look at those national stats with a little bit of caution and a little pinch of salt, all right? And again, when I check the local press again for when they put the stats out, it's another cut and paste job from the national statistics. They don't actually make any inquiry into the national stats. They just cut and paste them out, which in some ways is lazy. And I call you out on that as well. Now, for those people who are curious how things have been, Zakynthos has had 80 positive cases since the beginning of the year, and 43 cases for the month of February. Now, that is by my figures and by my reckoning, not by the national stats, all right? That's me keeping a tally of everything as it happens daily, all right? Anyway, as for new deaths, that is also up. We had 23 deaths on my last report. Today has been 26 deaths. The average age of those people was 79 years of age. And so far, we've had a total of 6,152 deaths since the pandemic has started. And again, 95% of those people had underlying health issues or were over the age of 70. And to put that into context, the average daily death rate in Greece in 2019 was 329 people a day would pass away through other illnesses because COVID wasn't around at that time, all right? And the gender of fatalities at the moment, it's 3,574 male, 2,503 females who he plays. Oh, that's the point. Yesterday, they never even released the sex of the genders that passed away. So that was quite interesting. I hope we're not going non-binary and all the other levels of female at the moment, which may catch up here in Greece at some point. But anyway, they didn't issue any figures yesterday, but who had passed away and what sexes they were as well. Anyway, as for critical cases, that's actually down, so that's a good point. I did report to you the other day there was 301 critical cases, and there was also a problem with figures there as well. However, yesterday or last night, they reported that they had 299 people in critical care. 201 are male and 98 are female. Now, the average age of those people in critical care is 70 years of age, and 68% of them have underlying health conditions or are over the ages of 70. So there you go. Those are the stats for today. Now, hey, as I speak to you this morning, remember, I wrote this weather last night, okay, because things were happening. Anyway, the entire Zakynthos road network in the mountainous areas was open last night, according to the Deputy Regional Governor, George Stanopoulos. The regional governor said that despite the big wave of bad weather and the low temperatures, but also the continuous snowfall that dressed us in white, I like that line, the machines have been working from morning, clearing the roads up in the north parts of the island which had been affected. In addition, they have on hand whatever needed for during the night. They've got aquifers that are ready to pour water and to melt the snow and ice. They were on standby last night. Meanwhile, the authorities have restricted movement in the areas of Ios Leon, Lukia, Kiri and Kiliamenos and Othina due to the large amount of snow and ice that was in those areas. And also as well, people have been going up to those areas as well, obviously breaking the rules of the lockdown to go and play in the snow and also to see the nature, as they said. Anyway, last night there was another severe weather warning issued by the Greek Met Office. They said stormy northwest winds of 7 to 8 were likely to be heading our way, blowing in on Monday night and expected to be here by today. However, to be honest, looking at it, I don't think they've come, although I must admit it is getting a little bit breezy, but nothing too extreme. Anyway, However, they did have an operational plan in process for dealing with snow risks and accompanying strong frost, which probably is still a bit of an issue at the moment. The local fire service remained on standby and on alert immediately to move anywhere where they had any involvement of bad weather. And also, believe it or not, they actually told people to avoid unnecessary journeys, which people were definitely not doing yesterday. The amount of snowmen on cars I saw yesterday at Lidl parked outside was quite interesting. And also, people were being advised to wear snow chains. And looking at some of the pictures, especially of Kiliamenos at the top of that hill, you weren't going to get up the top of that hill in a car without snow chains on. So they were actually advising people in certain areas to put snow chains on their vehicles if they wanted to get about. Anyway, also, interestingly, the national press was saying that this is the heaviest snowfall experienced in Greece in the last 12 years, believe it or not. Many areas across the country have experienced power cuts with people having to be rescued from their cars as well, or people getting caught out in drifts. So once again, it's not too bad here at the moment, but in other parts of Greece, yeah, they've had it worse. But we've had it pretty, I think, in some respects. Anyway, a story that kind of slipped through my little fingers from over the weekend, and I thought it was important to actually mention this. Desperate residents of Zakynthos took to the streets over the weekend to express their opposition to the restrictive measures that have been imposed during the pandemic. Locals were out with banners and slogans, and looking at the video of that protest, I wish I'd been there, to be quite honest. They were calling for an end to the lockdown at the moment and for effective measures to be taken by the government, which will benefit citizens in their businesses and in their local economies, and also in being able to move as well. Looking at the video, and you can check the video out on Irizita, Ionian Television covered the story. And it was very well attended. There was a mixture of ages. There was some very young people, some very old people. Some people wore masks. Some people didn't wear masks. Some people tried to practice social distancing as best they could, and some didn't bother. The interesting thing was they actually took the demonstration outside the police station where they were chanting and shouting. And at one point, they even sang the Greek national anthem as well. The police obviously just stayed out of the way. They obviously weren't going to embroil it and make the situation worse. But believe me, that sort of gives a reflection of the underlying frustration of locals here on the island who are just fed up with the lockdown. Yes, we had a bit of a spike. It happens. And also as well, you couldn't rely on the figures in some respects for what the government was saying in regards to the spike that put us into the red. Our local figures, I can honestly say, yeah, we had a spike. There's no two ways about it. But at the moment, everything seems to be now settling down. We are still in red in comparison to a lot of other areas around the country. And businesses are still dying on the vine. People still want to get back to work. Kids still want to get back to school. And at the moment, obviously, those things aren't happening. So, yeah, people are now thinking that they've had enough now here on the island, and they have taken to the streets. Just to point out, it was all very peaceful. There was no trouble. And people basically said, we've had enough, all right? And we shall see how that gets reported. It has been recorded in the local press. It'll be interesting to see if it gets picked up nationally or other areas across Greece are doing it. And I've got any listeners or people in Kefalonia tuning in, just let me know if anybody's, if you've had the same kind of thing happen there as what's happened here, and anybody else across Greece, please let us know. If you, I know they've had one in Athens, but you always expect that. They've had probably one in Thessaloniki. We always expect that. But again, any of the other smaller areas, smaller towns, if people have just decided we've had enough and we're taking to the streets in protest to make the people above us realise that we can't go on living the lives that we're living at the moment. Anyway, going back to a bit more COVID news for you. Greek government scientists have confirmed that the viral load being detected in the wastewater treatment plants in red areas are not declining as they hoped. And if the trend continues, it may be necessary to extend the hard lockdowns in these regions into March. So already we're being set up that we're not going to come out of this in February. We're going to come out of this in March, if we come out of this at all. We certainly won't be coming out of this during Carnival, that's for sure, and we'll see if we come out of this in when Easter, because Easter is in May this year. For those people curious when it is. Now, interestingly enough, Zakynthos does have a water treatment plant here on the island, and that is located down by the airport. But there's never been any mention anywhere about testing of the water treatment plant. There's been no figures, nothing in the local news to say the water's been tested and to what the situation is with water testing. And for those people trying to understand what water testing means, believe it or not, wastewater has been used as a medium for testing to see how the virus is moving around within the local community. Because believe it or not, when you poo and you wee, from what you pass out is a way that they can check in a collective way as to where the virus is. And at the moment, there's been no mention whether Zakynthos's water treatment plant has been tested for that, and if it has been, where do we stand with the figures from that as well? So that's something else that people should be aware of, I think, here on Zakynthos. Anyway, interestingly again, the Greek Prime Minister on Monday night, Mr. Mitsotakis, said that the rate of vaccinations against COVID-19 in the country will depend on the availability of vaccines, and call for the European Union to avoid any further delays in the rollout of the vaccine. Now, Mitsotakis did say in this interview, which was with Bloomberg Television, that Greece has fared better than other countries in dealing with the pandemic, and inoculations are moving in an accelerated pace. Of course, he said, we are very dependent on the number of vaccines that we receive from Europe. He told Bloomberg, I do expect the number of vaccines to come to ramp up significantly. He said, there is no doubt there were issues in terms of the execution of the project. I think that the president of the European Commission boldly enough accepted her share of responsibility. He's talking about Andrea van der Leyen. And he said, commenting over the curb in the vaccine deliveries, which was due to production. In fact, I know there's been a lot of shouts for her resignation at the moment as head of the EU. The way she's handled the vaccination system for the EU has been basically absolutely deplorable, because basically countries had gone ahead themselves, ordered the vaccine that they needed. She muscled in and said, no, that's our job to do that, not your job to do that, and basically messed the whole thing up. And then in a fit of pique, she then decided that she was going to try and take the vaccine from the UK that had already been earmarked for the UK directly from the Brussels plant as well, which again was bang out of order, and that smacked more of a Brexit punch rather than a vaccination punch and let's get people treated punch. Anyway, going back to Mitsotakis, he says now we need to move forward to make sure that as new vaccines are approved, we will not run behind other countries in terms of how quickly we actually receive the vaccines. I'm sure that even in Brussels, the lessons have been learned. He also estimated that the pandemic will wane as of April due to the improving weather. Once again, just to say that all this cold weather now, this is what the virus likes, actually. The warm weather, it doesn't like it. It dies out or rescinds. But with the cold weather, as we've had with the snow and everything else, that obviously makes it more dangerous in regards getting, the virus because of the way the weather is. Anyway, the goal is, according to the Prime Minister here, to return to normality as soon as possible. Yeah, we hope so. We do hope that that come summer, a significant percentage of the Greek population will be vaccinated. He's also asked about the impact of the pandemic on the Greek economy. Mitsotakis said that the first quarter of the year will be worse than expected. Well, there's a surprise, due to the lockdown, but March will be better. Well, March isn't that far away, to be quite honest, so we shall see how things start to change around in March, especially if we're still where we are in the red at the moment. Also, as well, going back to Israel, research in Israel involving 600,000 people vaccinated with the required 2 doses of the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine. Their research has confirmed that there was a 94% drop in symptomatic infections of COVID-19, and the same group was 92% less likely to develop severe illness from the virus. And you've also got to remember that Israel's also been working on this inhaler vaccine, of which 45,000 doses of this have been given to Greece. There's been no word about a rollout of that going across. And at the moment here in Zakynthos, still no word as to whether we've had any more arrivals of the vaccine. For those people who want the vaccine, remember now that the age of 60 to 64 can technically book appointments here in Greece for vaccinations with their local pharmacy, or through their, believe it or not, through their tax office, or even through KEP. However, at the moment, still no word as to whether that's going to kick off here at the moment in Zakynthos, as we still await arrival of the vaccine itself. And as I've said before, I'm not in any rush to have the vaccine at the moment, even though I do qualify with my age. Anyway, also as well, in Brussels at the moment, officials are reportedly concerned about the agreement signed between Greece and Israel earlier this month to facilitate travel between the 2 countries for people who have been vaccinated against COVID-19. Anyway, in a report on Monday, Germany's Frankfurter Allgemeine newspaper, it sounds like something from the Rocky Horror Show, doesn't it, quoted a European Commission official as saying that the member states have already agreed to the rules for travel from 3rd countries, which do not include privileges for people who have been vaccinated. Anyway, the Greek Prime Minister Mitsotakis' proposal at the start of the new year for a vaccination passport was dismissed in January by Brussels, which insists that the arrivals from a 3rd country will only be allowed into the bloc when the epidemiological data for countries permit it. Anyway, Cyprus signed a similar agreement with Israel on Sunday, while Spain and Portugal are also calling for such a certificate. And again, Boris now is talking about the vaccination passport at the moment in the realms of British tourism. So we're going to see how that plays out. Again, it's a step that I think a lot of people, I don't know, I'm not too keen on it. I know people at the moment are having difficulties trying to get back an extra expense of having to have 2 COVID tests at their own expense to be able to travel back, plus the cost of your flight. And of course, there's this thing about ending up in quarantine for 10 days if you fly from here back to the UK, if Greece suddenly becomes a red zone. But again, all these things are happening as I speak at the moment, and it all changes from one day to the next. So we'll see how all of that starts to play out. Anyway, also as well, another story, completely not involved with COVID. The rector of the Athens School of Fine Arts has alerted the prosecutor to claims made anonymously earlier this month on social media by 2 female students about the institution accusing one of its professors of sexual harassment. Anyway, speaking to the Kathemia on Monday, Nikos Tranos said that the university authorities will investigate the claims once they are formally lodged, adding that this has not been done. Now, that's a little thing about Greek law at the moment, just for people to understand. The police, authorities can't start to investigate until formal complaints have been lodged. All right. Now, this is in all areas. This is one thing that happens. If somebody tells me, oh, I was burgled last night and I've had this robbed and this taken, I'm by Greek law not allowed to report that. All right. Until it is formally lodged at the police station and registered as a crime. So therefore, it can make investigative journalism quite difficult at times with the Greek system to be able to follow things through because, again, you have that rule in place. So again, in regards to sexual harassment, until an official complaint is made to the authorities, as in the police, even the university is not in a position to start investigating it. It's not like a university can start investigating something and then take it to the police and say, well, we've we've done this and we've done this and we've found this and we found that, and we think this person is guilty. Could you please now investigate? No, it doesn't work like that here in Greece. It's a weird system, I know, especially people who are used to the UK system. So again, you can understand why sometimes there is a bit of a slowness in things to happen. It's because people are trying to work within the rules of Greek law. Anyway, just to bear that in mind, if you are experiencing any domestic or sexual violence here in Greece, you can call the number 1440. There are counsellors on there. They speak both Greek and they also speak English as well, and they are on there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they will be able to either have a word to listen to, offer you advice and offer you some help if you find yourself in that situation. So I'll just give you that number again. 1440 is the number, and of course you can call the police directly on 100 as well. Anyway, and finally, we got a good story for you. Although after watching a little program yesterday about Amazon Warehouse and Amazon Corporation, this will be of interest to you. A Greek school in Athens is to be the first in the world to send material, including text, images and personal testimonies, to the moon, through the upcoming space mission by the company SpaceX, which is part of the Amazon group. All right. Anyway, the Moritaris School announced the launch of the new educational program on space exploration recently, and they have scheduled an exclusive collaboration with Galactic Legacies Labs, and this program is called the Moritaris Moon Landing and concerns all levels and will start at the end of January, continuing through until the end of March. When will the rocket take off? We don't know. All right, but it's really interesting that a school in Greece is going to be one of the first to be able to put things on that vehicle that is going to go and hopefully land on the moon and return to the moon. We've not been back there since 1972, so I wonder how it will have changed over the nearly 50 years, I suppose it will have been. But anyway, that was a little interesting story, so I thought that people would like that as well. Well, let's have a quick look, see who's tuning in. I'm also curious to see if there's anybody at the north end of the island who's telling us that the snow's all gone and it's all clear up there, or whether they're still locked down. And I've got to be honest, it is actually very cold out here on the balcony at the moment. So anyway, where is it? Emma Marco's tuning in. Nice to see you, Emma, all the way from Essex. Rainey Mitchell is tuning in as well. Trizaran Nugget is watching as well. Alf Ling is watching. Nice to have you, Alf. Margaret Miller is watching. Rania Mitchell says beautiful. Well, it is beautiful, but it's cold. Julie Allen is watching as well. Lindsay Lamb is watching. Emma Marku is watching. She says it's looking beautiful there this morning. Paulie Paul is watching as well. Nice to see you, Paul. Hope you're all right. Andy Orchard is watching from London. Probably sat in his ambulance somewhere. Amanda Gregory is also watching as well. I'm looking forward to your weather report, Amanda. Heather Nash is watching from Birmingham. Dave Matthews is watching from a wet but warmish Bryce Norton over there in Oxfordshire. Nice to have you looking in. Tim Troon is watching. He says morning, Ginge. Steve Hinklin says Gallimaria loves seeing the view on the chickens. Oh, cheers for that. Yeah, I really am getting into chickens at the moment. I like to eat a chicken as well, but don't tell them that. Not that we've eaten any of ours that we've had here. Anyway, George Exer, I can't even pronounce that long name beginning with an X, but anyway, Exerglanopopoulos is looking in. So nice to see you looking in, George. I'm not sure where you're from, but nice to see you looking in. I've just pushed the wrong button there. Tim is in Biggleswade in Bedfordshire. Oh, that's not too far from Leighton Buzzard, isn't it? Anyway, Michelle Rushton is tuning in as well from the top end of the island. I don't know how well you're on the low-lying parts of the island, so it'll probably not be snowed in where you are. Donna over in Brighton is tuning in as well. Lovely to see you looking in, Donna. Michelle Rushton, a morning grey and cloudy in Leek today. Oh, so the Leek weather forecast is grey and cloudy. Lovely little town, Leek. You must go check it out if ever you're in the UK. Steve Hinkling is looking in. Heather Nash says, morning, both your weather looks much better than ours. It was raining here in Birmingham earlier. Steve replied to Michelle, morning grey and cloudy lead today. Steve Hinklin says, sunny blue skies in Silverdale. He says, I wish. Anyway, Biggleswale, Bedfordshire, only for the next week, then moving to Tittenham, Norfolk, not far from the IF Regiment depot at Honington. Oh, so he's moving up to that area. Might be. Is it cheaper housing up there, or is it a job? Anyway, he'll probably tell me. Baz Halsworth is also tuning in. Tim Crystal says, good morning again from a very wet Oxfordshire, but the temperature is rising. Amanda Gregory says, morning, Ginge. Marley is better. Bless him. That's why I didn't get a weather forecast yesterday, because Marley wasn't too well. Dry, sunny day, cold wind blowing, yellow warming for extreme cold temperatures until Friday. This time last year, temperatures were 16 degrees. Today, temperature is 6 and feels like 3. I tell you, it feels colder than 3. I've got to be honest, I am actually feeling quite chilly on this balcony at the moment. Michelle Rushton says, have a good half term. Half term? Half term? Yaris Thakis is also watching as well. Vicky Wood is watching. Andy the Fridge Watkins is watching. Julie Meldrew. Dennis Geramolis is watching as well. Graham Bint in Australia is watching. I bet it's a bit warmer down there in Australia at the moment than what it is here. Dawn Hemsworth is watching. Christine Wildridge is watching. Tim Crystal is also watching as well. He says, today, a warm morning, buddy, from a wet Oxford, but from Sunday, much warmer. I think we've already had that one, haven't we? Vicky Lowe is watching. Andy Owen's watching. Dennis Patrick Carroll in Cyprus is tuning in. I bet it's warm there, but it'll be snowy in the mountains there. Charles Ballantyne, Chick Ballantyne's tuning in. Barbara Ann Walker, Paul Fleming, John Davis, Patsy Ann Dobson, Christine Colwell in Leighton Buzzard. What's the weather like there at the moment? Is it gloomy, or have you got a bit of sun today? Larry Smith is watching. Heather Flynn. Oh, I've got so many people tuning in. I really am feeling the cold now. I think it's my age. I'm just having a flick to see if there's Rocky Regan's tuning in. Tim Crystal says, going live again on Saturday at 6 p.m. Mixed Elvis set on ETA's Live and Kicking. That's the Elvis... what ETA, I'm trying to remember, it stands for Elvis Tribute Acts. That's it. That's on there. So cheers for that, Tim. We shall look out for that. Larry Smith says, sounds a bit windy there, mate. It is, and my hands are shaking as well. And I feels like I'm what's the word I'm looking for? I feel like I'm cold turkeying at the moment out here. Anyway, listen, I better go. I don't want to be rabbiting on. I'll keep my ear to the ground and I'll keep a lookout, see what's going on, and I'll be in touch and I'll be with you tomorrow. So you take care. Have a great day. Stay safe. And as John Clifford would say, don't eat any of the yellow snow if you're up in the areas where the snow is, and wrap up warm here, because despite the sunshine, it is bitterly cold. Ta-ra, catch you later. Bye-bye.